Welcome to the Module 5 of the Chromafor project. It's entitled Systematizing and Quantifying the Circular Economy in the Foundry sector. And this is the introduction to Unit 1, Standards and Tools for the Circular Economy Audit. The topics of this lesson are the auditing process, circular economy auditing standards, and circular economy auditing tools. The auditing process. Audit is a codified procedure for assessing a specific situation. It is the starting point of any continuous improvement process. The audit is a procedure that has been designed to measure something according to a standardized procedure and to compare with the reference to measure the distance and so to find a solution to improve a process, an organization, anything that is under assessment. It has been invented several time ago in order to assess financial aspects. So the financial auditing was the first one invented. Then several other audits have been created, for example, the organization audit, or in this period is so trendy, the energy audit. In this unit, we discuss about the circularity audit, that is the procedure to measure the level of implementation of circular economy inside a company or in the framework of a process. Anyway, in the context of the circular economy, standards and auditing tools are still being defined. As we'll see, while in other sectors there are indexes and auditing procedures that are internationally recognized and accepted, in the framework of circular economy, standards have been proposed just in the last year, and also circularity index have been recently proposed but not commonly adopted. Well, circularity index. Different indexes have been proposed to assess different aspects related to circular economy, for instance, use of materials, sustainability, and so on. As we have said, the audit is a codified procedure to measure the distance, so the difference between what we are assessing and a reference system. So, in order to perform this measure, we need indicators that allow to quantify the distance and so to perform the measure. And these are the indexes, in particular, in this case, the circularity indexes. For example, in the slide you can see what is called the material circularity indicator. That is one of the most popular indexes that is used in the context of circular economy. It is not the only one, because there are several aspects to be assessed, and also because circular economy impacts several sectors that may need different kinds of indexes. Data collection is a key aspect of the success of an audit. Since the audit is a codified procedure, at the beginning it is necessary to identify all the data that are necessary to quantify the indexes. So, it's necessary also to identify the sources of the data. And it's not so easy to identify all the data in the specific case of circular economy. There are several sources of data. For example, the document exchanged with suppliers can be a source of data, or the financial reports or the internal technical reports. Anyway, some data cannot be available in the existing document, and so the auditor must be responsible of finding a way to calculate or evaluate the missing data. Anyway, if the company adopts certification such as ISO 14001 or EMAS, it's possible to obtain a lot of data from the sustainability report or the environmental declaration. Even if these certifications are not strictly related to circular economy, they are related to environmental aspect. So what if a company adopts this certification, at the same time it produce reports that produce a huge amount of data that help the circularity auditor. So, in order to make a successful circularity audit, the best solution is the integration with other environmental certification. Circular economy audit standards. Before presenting the circular economy audit standards, we have to say that since they are being released in recent years, we don't have specific standards to be adopted in the Foundry sector. We have general standards for the circularity audit. In particular, at international level, we have just 2 international standards. We'll show the main features. Standard BS 8001. It has been proposed in 2017 by the British Standard Institute and it has been the first international standard to perform a circularity assessment of a company. The standard is based on 6 principles: systematic thinking, innovation, stewardship, collaboration, value optimization, and transparency. According to the authors of the standards, these 6 principles should be existing in each company, or at least in each company that wants to implement circular economy processes. And the standards work to allow to measure the level of this principle and provide guidelines to improve them. The standards allow to define a degree of correlation between the existing indicators and the 6 principles. So the idea is to connect the circular economy indicators with the 6 principles defined by the standards. Anyway, in a flexible way, because according to the standard, the company is the only responsible for the circularity assessment, and so the company itself has to decide the circularity index that mostly fit the processes inside the company. So all the process is not designed in a strict way, but with flexibility to adapt to the different functions and activities of a company. An 8-stage flexible framework guiding the practical implementation of the circular economy principles in organization is the core of the standard. So, the standard defines a framework including 8 stages, 8 steps that the company has to implement in order to improve the level of circularity and the 6 principles. However, even in this case, it's defined in a flexible way. That means that there is not a specified order of the steps that the company has to follow, but there is some flexibility according to the activities of the company, according to the internal organization. The standard provides a clear recommendation to companies on circular economy issues. And in the end, also, the standard provides a level of circularity from 0, that is the smallest one, to 4, that is the highest one. So, the company in the end, after this assessment, has some indicators related to the principle and a global circularity indicator, and some recommendation to practically improve its level of circularity. The other circularity standard available at international level is the standard AFNOR XP X30901. It has been proposed in 2018 by the certifying body AFNOR. Initially it was a French standard, but soon it has become an international standard also because of the international reputation of AFNOR. The general structure of the standard is based on the analysis of 3 dimensions that are environmental, social and economic, and 7 development targets that a company should have. In this way, the standard creates a matrix between the dimensions and the development target and find a correlation between them. And thanks to the correlation and the measurement, allow to find solution for continuous improvement of the circularity level. The standard can have different variations based on the sector and the company that want to use it. So, as for the previous standard, there is a lot of flexibility because this standard, as the previous one, is not specific for a generic sector, but has the aim to be applied for every kind of company that want to adopt a circular economy audit and a circular economy practice. So, must be flexible in order to adapt to different company activities. The main objective of the standard is to verify and certify the compliance of the organizational model implemented by the company in the management of innovative and development projects with respect to the circular economy. With the term project, the standard means every procedure in a broader sense that a company wants to set up, wants to start to improve itself in the framework of circular economy. So the standards want to provide a guide for every activity of design, implementation, or improvement related to circular economy. It can be integrated with other ISO standards such as 14001, 9001 or 45001 systems. So, as previously said, the integration between this circularity audit standard and other environmental or quality standards help the auditing process. Finally, we discuss about circular economy audit tools. These tools are not strictly related to the audit standards that have been previously described. They are tools that are provided by different organizations and are available generally online for companies that want to make an assessment of different aspects, but always related to circular economy. Here we see some of the most popular ones. Circulytics is a tool provided by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. It highlights the strength and the weak point of an organization and provides an overall circularity score and a scorecard for several dimensions. Circulytics is an online tool that can be used by companies to assess their circularity level, mainly with respect to their internal organization. It's an online tool, so the companies can just register access to the tool, perform the assessment, and get a result. The result is presented with a global score that provides a global level of circularity of a company, and then a scorecard. The scorecard is divided mainly in 2 sections that are enables and outcomes. The enables are all the processes of innovation, so the processes that enables the circular transformation, while outcomes are the existing processes inside company. So basically, Circulytics provide an assessment of the processes inside the organization with respect to circular economy. And thanks to the score, the company get an idea of where it has to improve. CTI tool has been proposed by the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. From an analysis of the flow of materials, the company determines its objectives by minimizing the extraction of resources and production of waste. So, differently from the previous tool that focuses on organization, so on processes, this tool focuses on materials. So, the company, thanks to this tool, is able to get some information, some indicator about the level of circularity of their process related to the use of materials, to the reuse of materials, and to the production of wastes. In particular, the tool analyzes the cycle of materials and wastes and then provides a solution to optimize it. The Circular Economy Toolkit is proposed by the University of Cambridge and Accenture. It is structured by 33 quantitative questions divided in several categories concerning the phases that make up the life cycle of a product. So, this specific tool wants to assess the product and want to support companies that want to produce materials and products with the philosophy of circular economy, and customers that want to acquire products with the philosophy of circular economy. Remember that this is just an introduction to the unit. The full material is available on the project website www.chromafor.eu. Thanks for the attention.